My name is Farzana and I'm a senior at Coral Reef High.
Fire. Thank you. So tell me what happened that made you realize that you needed our service?
Well, I took my SAT, my first SAT back in March, and I realized like I thought I was gonna do a lot better in my math, but then I realized my math was actually pushing my score down, and I realized I needed to have some tutoring service to be able to get my math score up.
But okay. So when you say like were you was this like a PSAT that you received or an SAT
No, an
before
SAT. It was like the first SAT that was offered by the school.
and you got your scores back and were you surprised by your math score?
Yes, I was surprised because I took calculus like my junior year, so I was expecting, oh, my math should be really good and it should help my drive my SAT score up. But I realized I was lacking a lot of fundamentals from algebra, and that was actually pushing my score down.
Right, like you were because you were in calculus, it was almost like you were two ahead.
I guess
And
in a way I forgot a lot of like fundamental stuff, and also with like COVID, like I didn't have a lot of geometry knowledge on like a bunch of like simple stuff. So I had to brush up on a lot of topics I didn't like remember, I didn't know.
yeah, facts. I hear that a lot. Geometry. Everyone gets took by geometry, bro.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the SAT really only covers algebra one, geometry, algebra two, and some stats. There's no calculus in it.
No, it's not.
So you were surprised. You were like, what?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
really surprised. It was kind of humbling, like to see like, oh, like you're not like as like advanced as you think you are, but
At
yeah.
least the score would say that.
Yeah, that's what the score says.
So you had that experience. You were like, oh crap, whatever. But ultimately, what led you to finding out about us?
I had known a lot of my friends had actually taken the tutoring service, and they had like said like, oh, like it's helping me, whatever. Like it's a lot of work, but it's tough, but like it's very like they keep up with you, they're constantly in touch with you. It's like very encouraging, and it's also very like oriented to your needs. Like they place you in groups of kids who are doing like how you're doing, so it's not like the work is going to be too ahead or too easy for you. It's very customized, and it's also kids that are looking for the same improvement you are, which also helps. But I had done another tutoring service before, and I was kind of skeptical because I was like, oh, I don't know if I can learn from online. I'm sure a bunch of students can agree, like, like with COVID, it's very hard to learn online. But when it's like with Piece of Pie, it's very like interactive and you're constantly being asked to answer questions. So it's very hard to like look away for a second because then you're just gonna be lost, and your tutor's gonna call you out. So
Was so the tutoring that you did before us was that also online?
no, it wasn't online, it was hands-on, but I was being like tutored alongside like 6-year-olds. So it was very like how am I gonna, yeah, it was really weird. I was like, how am I gonna, like, I told my dad, I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna learn next to like a 6-year-old, because the tutor would be like, like helping some kid with like what's like fractions and stuff like that. But then like with me, he's like, oh, actually let me pull up this like SAT thing and like see if it explains it for you.
Kind
And
of
he was,
multitasking.
yeah, he was making me read it, and I was like, oh, I don't think like I'm getting my money's worth from this, because it was expensive and you want to get like the best out of it because tutoring is like not cheap.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Damn, okay. And then, so it was one of your friends from school, or
Yeah, one of my
or
friends from school, a few of them. I remember I was in lacrosse actually, and one of them was like, "Oh yeah, I did piece of pie and it was like really good. You guys should do it." So I kind of like looked into it and I started looking at the Instagram, and I was like seeing like all the scores from other students. And some of them I knew too. So I was like, oh, okay, like a lot more people that I know like actually do this.
and at that time, like, what was your expectation? Like before you signed up, what was your expectation of the virtual group environment?
I thought it was gonna be more of like a lecture thing, like you just talk for like because I heard it was 4 hours, and I was like, how do you sit there for 4 hours? Like I can't sit still for 4 hours, but it's like the time kind of goes by quickly, and it gets like when you start understanding the math, it's actually like fun, like because you're getting the satisfaction of knowing like, okay, I'm actually improving. You're seeing your like practice test scores and stuff like that. But it like it passes by really fast, and like I was surprised that I wasn't like full on lecture. Like it's very like, okay, like I did this, now like do this, and like we'll figure out where you went wrong, and like you get to like learn from your mistakes.
And aside from, so okay, so the experience in class was different than what you had expected, right? Different than
Yeah,
COVID or whatever.
it was like a lot more interactive and like active. Like you have to actually be paying like attention to like what you're doing and stuff. And I thought it was gonna be more like just like a 3 hour long lecture about like different math subjects. So I was worried that like I wouldn't be able to like concentrate or pay attention. But the fact that like we had to like print out packets and actively be responding to questions as we were doing the work and write notes really helped. along with like the homework can get like a little intense at times, but it really does help to be like to have the like lecture and then have to keep practicing it at home to like really reinforce what you're learning. So it's not like, oh, you sit for 4 hours and that's it for the rest of the week. Like you're constantly like doing stuff, even if you're not in the actual meeting.
Right. So that was the next thing I was going to ask. All right. So that was in class, okay, but then out of class. So if let's just jump to this next question, then I think you'll answer what I wanted to ask. So if another student were to ask you, you know, about piece of pie and the service, right? Like, what should they know?
That it's not like something you're gonna be able to breeze through. Like you're not gonna be able to like, like look on your phone like you think you could and then like just like breeze through the class. Like you have to actually be paying attention. Like it's very active, it's very customized to your needs. And it is very like encouraging too to know that there's people that care about what you're gonna like be getting, people that are constantly keeping up with your progress and keeping in touch with you to make sure you're doing the work. But it's not going to be like something boring where you just have to sit through for 4 hours. Like it's going to be very like interactive, and you're going to be with like other students that are like have the same goals as you to get the certain score you need. But overall, like I've seen like every student that does piece of pie like has to improve. Like there's no way you can't improve with the course.
What if you didn't do the homework?
If you're not putting in the work, it's not going to work. Like, you can sit for the 4 hours, but if you're not reinforcing what you're learning, it's going to like slip your mind. So I think the homework really does help. Like, yeah, it gets annoying sometimes with school, but if you're constantly doing it, like, it's definitely going to help you improve. But like, you can't take the SAT and just like breeze through it. You can't like look at a cheat sheet and like understand what's going to happen. Like, you're not going to improve 100 points by looking at a cheat sheet. You have to constantly be practicing what you're like being taught in class. So if you're not doing the homework, like, it's not really going to like help you, or you're not going to be able to improve as much as you could be and like putting in what you're getting.
So on that note, I mean, did you find like how'd you find the workload? Like how?
The beginning it was a little intense, especially because like I didn't know that I was gonna you guys were gonna be like so like consistent with it. But I like afterwards like it does get easier because you do have to break it down. You don't want to do like all the work in one day. But if you're breaking it up every day, it's not that bad. It's really not that bad. And it's something that you can easily put into your schedule once you get used to it. But it is stuff that does relate with what you're doing. And I really like the fact that each week there's something different. So it's not like you're being taught about algebra the whole weeks and you know what you're learning. You're learning about like, oh, geometry, challenge questions, and you're also seeing the hardest questions that you could possibly get, which I think really helped because I think in some sense too like I was prepared for like a lot of harder questions from stuff I saw, but like I didn't have to like see it. I didn't have to end up like answering those questions, but I was prepared for a bunch of different types of questions that could come at me from past SATs.
Yeah, I mean, that is our approach. We're comprehensive.
Yeah.
Which I guess maybe that's probably why I know you took one test, you went up like 100 points, right?
Yeah.
And then you didn't do math tutoring for I don't know how long,
Yeah.
but it clearly stayed with you
Yeah.
because then you went up another 70.
Yeah.
So that's what
And
I
I was
always tell
looking back
people.
at the material too, like even though like you take it once, like I look back at the material and I would practice those same questions because I would look at the packets and I'd fill out the answers I hadn't already done, and you have the answer sheet there and everything, so I'd look back at it too, and I think that definitely helps because the material stays with you.
That's what I tell the students. It's like, look, we're comprehensive because you don't know what's going to show up on every test. Like it's never
Mhm.
like that predictable. It's let's say there's always use the example. There's like 40 topics that can show up and like 28 will show up, but you don't know which
Mhm.
28. So
Yeah.
it's like, all right, prepare for all of them. Yeah, sure. It's like you said, there's going to be some stuff, like a lot of stuff you're going to work on that maybe doesn't show up
Hmm.
this test, but it might show up on the next one.
Yeah, exactly. And every
And
student's different.
yeah, exactly.
It's the same
Cool.
concept, but it's different.
How'd you stay motivated? Because it's a lot. It's a journey.
Yeah, it was. It was like a how long? I think I started April and then I took my last one in October. But I think it was just the fact that I wasn't getting the 100%. So I was like, I really have to get the 100% because getting like the 75% felt like I was like not going through it all the way because my goal was to get at least a 1340. The dream was to get a 1400, so I was constantly pushing through. I was practicing every week. But it's just about like I just like had the fulfillment that I could do it because going up 100 in math, I thought I was gonna like when I was doing the practice test, I was getting a lot better. So I was like, I know there's some way that I can get it to at least a 700 in math, and then I got a 730, and I was really like proud of it.
Me too. That was dope.
Yeah. But
That was a
after
good
the fourth
surprise.
one, because my dad didn't want to let me take it a fourth time, he was like, like you've already taken too much, like you get really stressed about it. Because I'm like, don't bother me, like leave me in my room, like, and I'm just like doing my stuff. But like I took it the fourth time, and he was really happy I did because that was the biggest improvement. It was from a 1280 to 1390.
I've seen that happen a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I tell you, don't stop. Like, don't give up. I've seen like on the fifth one, like crazy, you know, the fifth
Yeah.
time, it's like, yeah, then they will go up like 80.
Yeah.
um, the top two things, right? So what were because there was a lot that was involved in our prep course, but what were like
Mhm.
the top two most helpful things that you found from our prep courses?
I think definitely like the packets that like we have to print out before the class really help, and like that there's like already notes there. And I think also like the keeping in touch and like constantly making sure like we're submitting assignments. And also like once you turn in a test, you get the answers back from it, and you get there's like video links to it so you can see the mistakes. I think that really helps because just like you can see the answer and like think, oh, like I knew that, whatever. But if you're actually seeing the work being put behind it, you might even discover like a shorter way to like solve an answer than you thought like before, which saves time during the SAT.
Nice. So you use the videos sometimes.
Yes.
Nice. What about the practice test? I feel like we must have bombarded you with them at the end, no?
No, yeah, it was like the last few weeks are like the most like there's like the most, and especially like the I think what also helped too was the like the mock test that you would do, because they were like actually 4 hours, because it's a lot different than taking like, oh, like a 30-minute test. You actually have to sit down for 4 hours and do the whole thing, which like prepares you for the actual thing, because you know like, okay, like 4 hours, like it seems like a lot, but it kind of goes by fast, especially with the SAT. But
Right,
then
right.
getting your answers back. So
Yeah. Cool. So ultimately, what result did we help you get? Initial and final score.
I started with an 1180 and I ended up with a 1400.
Okay, so overall, what was the lowest reading and the highest reading?
The lowest reading was a 590, and then the highest reading was a 670.
And then the lowest math and the highest math?
The lowest math was a 560, and the highest math was a 730.
That's right. Let's go. That's awesome. Um, and did you get any scholarship?
Yeah, I got 100% bright futures from my 1400, so I don't
That's
have to
what's
worry
up.
about tuition.
And what has the result meant for you?
Not having to really worry about like the SAT during my senior year and being able to enjoy it, but also being able to focus on like my college apps. But it releases like a lot of like stress off your back for senior year. So it's good to start the program as early as you can.
True that. Well, what after going through what you went through, when do you recommend people start prepping?
Before junior year, even beginning of sophomore year, like the more time you have, the
Damn.
better. Yeah.
Oh,
I
you
because
took it.
I didn't know. I thought that you were supposed to take the SAT senior year. Like I thought that was more of a senior year thing. So I like junior year, I was like, oh, I don't have to worry about it. And then I took my first SAT and I was like, wait, like this you have to do it now. So that's when I started like actually working on it. But I think people should start like the best time to start, I think, is before junior year, like summer before going into junior year. Because summer too, you have the most time because you don't have to worry about schoolwork.
That's what I tell people. I
Yeah.
mean, it's hard for some people though, depending on their motivation, but I
Yeah,
agree.
you should. And it
It
gives you
is.
the most time to improve. And then you don't have to worry about it. Like even like I know some students that like studied and they didn't have to worry about it at the end of their junior year. And I think that's really nice too.
Yeah, facts. No, we had some kids actually this year, and I mean every year this happens, but this year more
Yeah.
than any other year, they did the tutoring summer before junior year, and they took the
Hmm.
August test, and they were done. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So awesome. How could our program be improved for future students?
I can't really think of a way it could be improved because it's very like interactive. It's very like they're keeping up to date with the student. I really don't know like what an answer to that, but
Okay. Gotta ask. If you think of something, let me know later or
okay.
whatever.
No, I can't like not even to like I can't because it's like I think it like worked out.
Yeah, me too. I think it worked out.
Oh,
All right. I mean, is there anything else we should know?
I highly recommend the program to anyone, like if you're gonna like I know that sometimes like SAT like prep is a little scary for some students and like some parents like but and especially the fact that it's like online, but I think like Piece of Pie does a really good job of being interactive and keeping up to date with the students and really tailoring to the students' needs. So I highly recommend the program to anyone that's like interested. I think you're like if you put the work in you, there's no way that you're not gonna be able to go up like at least like 150 points for both the reading and math programs, which I both like took part of. Like I think they're both amazing. So and the instructors are very caring and they're like very like they look after the students like best interests. So
Awesome. I appreciate it. Keep me posted. I know you a lot of reach schools, but you'll be surprised. So when you do get into one of these schools, let me know.
yeah, hopefully FSU, but
Yeah. I have a good feeling.
Hopefully. Thank
All right.
you.
Of course. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.